Somewhere out there is the island my friend Muffy owns. It's spring break, and she's invited us over there for the weekend.
You're listening to Scotty and Andrew, and this is Fun with Horror.
Hey, friends with horror, it's Andrew.
Hi, friends with horror. This is Scotty.
And welcome to episode 153 of Fun with Horror, the most wholesome horror movie podcast in the entire world. This is the podcast where two long-distance best friends stay in touch by giving each other horror movies to watch, then we discuss them.
That's right. Last movie was my pick, Andrew. And I went back to the 80s and I picked a movie called April Fool's Day because in all these years we've never done this movie around April Fool's Day.
It's true.
Because we're too busy rewatching a Serbian film over and over and over.
You know, it's just a good family flick and we want to discuss it with others. So, yeah.
But of course, stay tuned to the end of this episode to hear what family-friendly film Andrew is going to pick for our next movie.
Yes. I
What
might
was this?
surprise you on this one, too. I have a feeling
You might?
I don't have a feeling you won't guess this one.
Well, I've already lost because I already thought I knew what you were going to pick, and you're not picking the movie I thought you were going to pick. So there we go.
There you go.
There you go.
Science. I don't know.
Andrew.
Yes. Hi. Hey.
So you know what happened Friday night?
I do not know what happened.
So I went and I put on Jurassic Park because, you know, as I've mentioned, I recently completed my little stupid home theater in my apartment.
Yeah, dude.
And I put on Jurassic Park because I was, you know, I haven't seen it in a few weeks or something. Just kidding. It's been a while. It's been a while.
That's all you can sing of that.
I know. So anyway, I put it on and I'm like, I'm just going to watch the beginning because I want to see how it sounds and looks on my TV and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
And then I'm like, you know what? Okay, I'll just watch through the T-Rex scene. Right. Buddy, I ended up watching that whole movie. It's still one of the best ever.
That's awesome. It is. That's such a great movie. I love movies like that, though, where, like, you know, back when I had cable, when someone would come on, I'm like, oh, I'll watch for 2 seconds and I got to go do something else. And then you just get sucked in because it's so good. I love movies like that, man. And that is definitely one of them.
Me too. It took me right back to that theater, actually. You know, it's very few and far between when I watch Jurassic Park and I actually remember what it was like in the theater because I've seen it so many times. Mm-hmm. But the other night, yeah, you know, I'm also stupid. You know this about me.
You're not stupid. I know that about you.
No, it's dumb because I will rewatch a movie simply because I changed one little thing in my home theater setup. It's like, oh, I got a new subwoofer. I watched Jurassic Park without it before. I need to watch it again with it. And it's like a whole new experience. And it really was. It felt really close to rewatching that movie in that theater. It was
That's cool.
Really freaking cool.
Well, that's really sweet, too. It brings back a lot of memories. I love that. I think that's beautiful. Aww.
I think it's beautiful, too.
You know what's funny? Recently,
Tell me.
Since you brought up Jurassic Park, this was maybe like a month ago. I was just on YouTube and I found, so my brother and I used to have the Jurassic Park video game for Sega Genesis. And I watched the old gameplay for it popped up for whatever reason. I was like, whoa. And what's funny is I sent it to my brother. I was like, hey, remember this? Because you could play as human or you could play as raptor. It was awesome. Like the gameplay, watching someone do a full walkthrough or playthrough was like 40 minutes. And me and my brother, I was talking about it. I was like, man, I feel like we played that stupid game for weeks trying to get past it. And this dude plays it in 40 minutes and finishes it. But
yeah,
it's so funny. Just times have changed, man.
Times have changed. I also watched another movie that I'm not going to get into. I watched Companion.
Yeah. Okay. Yes.
Have you seen it?
No, I still haven't watched it. It's on my. It may be one we talk about. We'll see. We'll see.
It's interesting. It's another one of these movies that was billed as a horror movie, and I really would not call it a horror movie. Like, it didn't feel like a horror movie at all.
Okay. Interesting.
And I'm sorry, if you can hear that, Ziggy just decided that right now was the best time to play with his little ball. Thank you, Ziggy, the horror cat.
Hey, we need an appearance from Ziggy, so that's perfect.
I know, it's been so long.
It has been. And Ziggy's, I mean, let's be honest, Ziggy and Bowie, but are kind of our mascots, man. So we need them.
We do. I guess you could say, it's been a while.
No, that's it. Don't sing anymore.
Have you seen any movies?
I have. You know what I watched for the first? I've never seen it before, but I sat down and I finally watched Brightburn. I had never seen Brightburn.
You'd never seen it?
And I finally was like, I just gotta sit down and watch this, and I really enjoyed it, buddy. I knew the story, like going into it. I remember when it came out, being like, oh, it's evil Superman, sort of, you know.
Yeah.
So I knew what it was going in, but it was a lot of fun. I was like, oh, this is a cool flick.
So you liked it?
I did, yeah, I did like it.
I have not seen it since I saw it in theaters.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, hang on, Ziggy, we're recording. Buddy, jeez.
Come on.
I love that you're playing with your ball finally, but you never play with it, and now you're picking right now to play with it? Come on, buddy.
Man.
Anyway, back when it came out, the trailer was one of the worst trailers I've ever seen.
Oh, really? What?
It
Why?
literally gave away every single cool moment of that movie.
That sucks.
So when I saw the movie, there was like very little left to surprise, and that really affected my viewing of it. I thought it was a good movie, but I was like, I saw all of this in the trailer, everything.
That's a bummer. See,
So I need to rewatch it.
You should. I definitely recommend it. I was going to say, though, there's certain like movies where I think a teaser, I mean, you and I have talked about trailers, but like just a teaser is good. Like they could show a little bit of this movie and then kind of like, oh, he's not a happy or a good version of Superman. And that's it. Cut it off. And people go, oh, that'll be an interesting movie.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
there's just
I
certain
get it.
movies where I'm like, a teaser is perfect. It's good. It's all we need.
it's all we need.
That's all we need.
You know what else we need?
What do we need?
Comments on Spotify, because we have 2 of them, buddy.
Yay! I love Spotify.
That was a
comments.
segue from Brightburn to comments by Spotify listeners.
What a segue. What a segue.
What a segue. So first, we have on our No One Will Save You episode,
Ooh, yeah. Okay.
we have a comment by, now I'm going to try and say this right, Njafia,
Okay.
I think is how you pronounce his name.
Okay.
He said, been looking forward to this review. Glad you boys love the movie as much as I did. Keep up the good work. I thoroughly enjoy your pod. From Kenya with love. What?
That is so cool, dude. That is so cool. Wow.
What? Dude,
Kenya?
this blows my mind sometimes. I mean, I know these podcasts are available anywhere, but somebody in Kenya, Africa, is listening to Fun with Horror.
That is so cool. What an honor. That's so cool, man. Like that
is
yeah,
insane.
That's wild. I love it. Thank you, Kenya. That is so cool, man.
Thank you, Njafia.
And Jafia, yes, thank you. In Kenya, thank you. That is so cool.
And yeah, we both love the movie. We're glad that you did too.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for listening. If you're listening to this. If you're not, then everybody go to Kenya, find Njafia, and tell him that we mentioned him on this episode.
Yes, please.
And that he gets to share an episode with Ziggy the Horror Cat.
Oh, what an honor. What an honor.
And second, you know what else blows my mind?
What?
People that keep coming back for more.
I'm all about it.
Remember our old friend Claire on Spotify?
I do. Yeah.
She commented on the Substance episode, and she said, I'm here for this love fest. I saw the first showing the day it opened. I was so excited for this movie. I had so much fun with the unrelenting body horror of this brilliant movie. Needle exposure therapy for me too. That's a reference to my fear of needles, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
Congratulations on 150 episodes. Thank you, Claire.
Thank you, Claire. Wow, that was really sweet and really well. Man, that was worded really well, Claire. I loved that. Thank you.
Claire, you also get to share an episode with Ziggy the Horror Cat.
Wow.
Look at this.
Man, what an honor, seriously.
I cannot wait to edit this episode and see if you can hear Ziggy like just incessantly pushing his ball around on this circular little track.
I haven't. I think I heard it briefly right when you kind of looked back the first time, but I'd say just edit it in, just get a get a really loud recording. Throw it in.
Well, funny enough, we do have a third comment, Andrew.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it is by a listener named Ziggy the Love Cat. It says, guys, please stop calling me the Horror Cat because I'm a lover, not a horror. I'm going to play with my ball during this entire next episode just to get back at you guys. And guys, Scotty is my favorite. Just kidding. April Fool's Day, Andrew's my favorite.
All right, then. Have a nice party.
Nice? It's got to be better than nice. It's got to be bloody unforgettable.
Good luck.
April Fool's Day was released in 1986. It was directed by Fred Walton, written by Danilo Bach. Ziggy. It stars Deborah Foreman as Muffy, Thomas F. Wilson as Arch, Ken Olandt as Rob, Amy Steele as Kit, Griffin O'Neill as Skip, Clayton Rohner as Chaz, Jay Baker as Harvey, Deborah Goodrich as Nikki, and Leah Pensent as Nan.
Whew. That's quite the cast, man. I love it. So, of course, buddy, this is your movie. You picked this. Mind you, I did watch the one that came out in like 2013, so it'll probably be close enough. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Can you imagine? No, this was your pick, so I want to know, the people want to know, what'd you think of this movie, buddy? Without any spoilers, what'd you think of this movie?
I mean, you had me for a second. I was actually trying to jog my memory and think if they made a remake of this at some point.
There was a movie, called April Fool's Day that came out sometime later. I don't know if it's a remake. I have no idea.
I don't either, buddy. I don't.
know.
But let me tell you, buddy, April Fool's Day from 1986.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's no secret. I picked this movie because it's one of my favorite, quote-unquote, slashers of the 80s. I think it's just one of my favorites of the 80s, period. I don't know. I'm very curious to hear what you think because a lot of my love of this movie is definitely based on nostalgia
Okay.
and happy memories. But then when I rewatched it for this episode, I did realize that I seriously really love this movie.
Nice.
I think it's a legitimately good movie. And we'll get into why in a second. But this is interesting because I wasn't sure if you'd seen this movie when I picked it. And you surprised the entire world by telling us that you had not seen it. So, Andrew.
Yes.
Without spoilers, what did you think of April Fool's Day?
So I'll be honest. When I first put it on and started it, I was like, okay, this is fine. Nothing too wild. I caught myself on my phone a couple of times and I was like, no, like, it's fine. And then it hit and then I got into it, and I'd say the last 20 minutes, I fell in love with this movie, buddy. I fell in love with it. I was like, oh, there it is. That's
what I was
awesome.
hoping to hear.
Yeah. So I enjoyed this movie, bud, a lot.
That's really funny because watching this movie, I actually thought to myself, I really hope Andrew gets through this part of the movie because not having seen it in the 80s or when he was a kid, I know how he's probably going to feel about this first half of the movie, actually the bulk of the movie.
Yeah.
But let's see if the end turns him around on the whole movie.
I love that was your thought process. That's exactly what happened.
So,
yes.
That's it. Now, everybody, we are about to spoil April Fool's Day. So if you haven't seen this movie, please go watch it.
Yes.
Watch the entire movie, as we've just been mentioning, and then come back and listen. And this is we forbid you to keep listening if you haven't seen this movie.
It's true. You're forbidden. That's a threat. No, it's not. Don't sue us.
Yeah, we're not threatening anybody.
We're not threatening you. It's a joke. I'm so sorry.
But it is a promise.
April Fool's Day, everybody.
Hey, April Fool's Day.
All right. So, everyone, what Scotty's doing right now is getting a 20-sided die, an orange 20-sided die ready. If he stops it on an even number, he will be doing our 3-minute recap. If he stops it on an odd number, unfortunately for you all, I would be doing the 3-minute recap. So,
Oh, come on. You're good, too. Stop it.
I don't know, buddy.
Presence was one of your best.
Well, thank you. It was just under 3 minutes, too.
That's what I remember.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm rolling the die right now. I'm just hitting the roll button over and over again. So you just tell me when to stop there, pal.
I'd say let's wait another 40 minutes or so, and then I will. Okay,
but
let's not.
Let's
We'll stop it.
Well, let's do it. No, we'll do it for 40 minutes, but we're going to be very quiet, and then I'll edit out the entire 40 minutes.
I think that's a great idea. All right, ready, set, stop.
15. You are doing it, Andrew. Yes.
Oh, gosh.
I'm actually excited for this because I know this movie a little bit too well.
Oh,
so I'm
Lord.
ready to hear. I'm ready to hear you butcher it since you've only seen the movie once.
Yeah, and I will not remember almost any names, so heads up for that, everybody.
And let's just, once again, let's remind everybody, we do this without notes,
Right.
okay? We have very minimal notes for the podcast, but we are not allowed to prepare this beforehand. So if Andrew gets stuff wrong during the 3-minute recap, it's okay.
Yes.
Because he's doing it from his little tiny memory.
And little tiny brain. It's nothing
Well,
much on.
I didn't want to say that, but 'cause,
We knew.
you know. Well, I don't like to bring down other men because of size differences.
It's not the size, okay?
It's
How
not
you
the
use
size. How do you use it, Andrew? How do you use your brain?
On that note.
Oh, by the way.
Uh-oh. Yeah.
buddy. I've put in a fupple of cone falls.
Whoa. Oh, no.
Wow. Talk about using your brain.
I'm about to call 911, buddy. I'm a little nervous for you.
I made a couple of phone calls.
Oh, okay.
I called our good friend Ken Olandt, who was in April Fool's Day. And he was also in Leprechaun, which you've only seen half of and gave up on. And he was also in Summer School with Mark Harmon. He was acting alongside Mark Harmon of NCIS, everybody.
Oh, yeah. Good old Mark Harmon.
It's funny, Ken Olandt, he said to me, Andrew is the best. He's like, if I could have anybody do the 3-minute recap for April Fool's Day, it would be Mark Harmon. But second, you know who I pick? And I said, who? He said, Warwick Davis, because he was great in Leprechaun. I said, okay. He said, but after that, you know who I would pick? Jennifer Aniston. And I said, well, I understand that.
Yeah.
And I said, but you know what? My buddy Andrew's going to do it. He said, you know, that's okay. That'll be a close fourth.
Oh, good.
There you go. So
Wow.
you're Ken Olandt's fourth favorite.
Wow, what an honor. This episode is just filled with honor. I love it. Wow.
Honor and Ziggy the Horror Cat.
Yeah, man.
I don't know. I feel like this episode's a mess, but that's okay.
But you know what? We're full disclosure, everybody. We're filming. Hello. We're recording early, and we're tired and
Talk about nostalgia.
yeah, dude.
I'm going to go off on a tangent.
Please.
Everybody, if you go back and listen to our first number of episodes, I don't know, 10 or so,
At least.
Andrew had a real big issue with saying recording instead of filming when
Vice
talking
versa.
about us. No. You didn't say.
Oh, right.
I mean,
yes. Yeah.
oh my God, talk about a mess.
Oh boy.
Anyway, Andrew used to say filming instead of recording. That's what I was trying to get at. I said it bass backwards.
You did. But you know what? I feel like I have more of an okay to say it now. Now that we have, I'm watching you right now. We see each other. We're, back then we were just.
I get it, but we're not filming.
I know.
This
I
video
screwed
is
up.
not being recorded.
If only. Oh,
If
man.
only. Oh, God.
Oh, people
Oh,
would go
boy.
crazy. It would be pandemonium.
All right. It's going to be 2 hours into this episode before we do the
Lord.
3-minute recap at this rate. So.
All right, I'm going. Here we go. Oh, boy.
I got you for 3 minutes. 3 minutes of play time.
All right. A group of college students are going to go see their friend Muffy St. John at her place out by the lake. They go out on a little ferry that will go to her place. While they're on there, two of the people decide to play a prank because it's April Fool's Day. And they fall in the lake and everyone jumps in. Oh no, what's going on? And it's a prank. We got you. One of the people that had jumped in, though, is one of the people running the ship with the captain. Captain says, okay, let's tie up. We're almost there. So the two college students jump back on the boat. And the other guy says, I'll just stay in the water. I'll put the rope on. We'll be fine. Except as he's there, the boat begins to get a little closer to him and he gets crunched. And he pops up out of the water and his eyes popping out and he's freaking out and all the students are freaking out. They don't know what's going on. Eventually the sheriff comes to take him and the kids go into the Muffy St. John's place and they're all rattled and it's been a bad start to this fun weekend. Well, during this time, a little before this, I should say, we also see Muffy at the place talking with her mom, someone, I can't remember, but saying, oh, this will be a weekend to remember. But the way she says it is, she's up to something, this Muffy. I don't know. So, throughout this weekend, there's lots that happens, college debauchery, if you will. Boys are boys, the girls are girls. This is the 80s, so there's some very stereotypical things that are happening, blah, blah, blah. At one point, Muffy's cousin, I believe, who was also part of the pranksters at the beginning, he goes missing. Where'd he go? I don't know. Well, two of the couples decide to go out and have almost sexual intercourse in one of the boathouses. And as they're laying there about to get it on, they look down under the water, under the floorboards into the water, and they see the cousin's dead body floating. They freak out. What happened? Where is he? Oh my gosh. So they run and think it's just a prank. They get all the group together and they say, let's go find him. He's messing with us or something really is going on. They're freaking out. They decide to run and look for him. Of course, someone's brilliant idea is, hey, let's split up. So they do. During this time, others begin to start going missing. Something's happening. Someone's taking them. At one point, Biff, and I'm going to call him Biff. I'll talk about it later. But Biff from Back to the Future is there. He's one of the group. He gets strung up, and there's a snake about to attack him. And then we see someone stand in front of him, and he looks up with fear. Cut. Then we jump into other people going missing. Eventually, there's two left. And we'll talk about names because I don't remember their names. But it's the the couple that was making out and saw the first dead body. Oh, yeah, and there's a great scene. I'm going to jump back. I'm all over the place here, buddy. There's a great scene where they're looking in the well, different couple, and they go down, and one of them falls in the well, and all of a sudden she sees all these severed heads of all of her friends are starting to float to the top, and she's freaking out. There's dead bodies of her friends there, so we know bad things are happening. Eventually, people start going missing again, and we're back down to those two final people. Well, whoever the guy is, which again we'll talk about, he's locked in a room. He gets locked in a room, and who shows up but the guy at the beginning that got his eye popped out, and he's freaking him out, and the guy's freaking out. He doesn't know what to do. And the girl, she's running from Muffy, who's acting all crazy. They found all these clues and different things that make it look like she's like an insane asylum patient that got out, or a twin of someone, whatever. There's all these clues that make it seem like she's nuts and crazy and gonna kill them all. So anyway, she's running from Muffy, our main girl, and she opens the main door to the living room area, and what is there but all of her friends safe and sound? Everyone is okay. Her boyfriend eventually runs in, who's running from the guy with the eyeball. He sees everything too, and you're like, what is going on? Well, Muffy comes out and essentially says, April Fools. And they're like, what? And all the friends start laughing. They're okay. They're all having a good time. The police officer is there. Everyone's there, just laughing and having fun. Well, here's what happened. Muffy's parents or dad or someone was going to sell this house. She didn't want him to. She said it would be a great idea if we turn this essentially into like a B&B horror-themed type thing where you would have to solve a crime or a murder or something and make it horror, and it would be a lot of fun and people would enjoy it. But I needed guinea pigs, and I needed to try it out and see if it would actually work so I can tell them that it would. So all of the friends were guinea pigs for part of this scheme just to see if this would work. But as each person, quote unquote, died, they became part of it as well. So they were also in on it as they died. Again, quote unquote, died. During this time, of course, these two are kind of ticked about it all, but, whatever. They're having fun. The guy that had his eye popped out at the beginning, he's a special effects guy, so he actually made all the severed heads of everybody. He made everything that looked realistic, so we find out that that's why it all looked so good and real, because that's what he does. One of the girls, though, however, there were some pranks that were happening as well, just to mess with the people that Muffy did. She played a sound in one of the rooms of a baby crying, and it was to actually mess with her, one of the girls who had a trigger warning that had an abortion. And it was to mess with her a little bit. And even Muffy at the end said, some of the things I did is a little too much. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have gone quite as far as I did. Well, it cuts to everyone had partied. They'd all been drinking. Muffy goes up to her room. She's pretty drunk. She finds a present there. She opens it, and it's a Jack-in-the-Box, kind of like what we had seen at the beginning, which we'll talk about because I skipped that because I forgot about it. And all of a sudden, the girl that was mad about having the baby crying pulls out a knife and slits her throat, Muffy's throat. But it's pretend as well, and it's April Fool's, and it cuts to the credits. There you go.
That was amazing. That was so good, buddy.
That's tough, man. Thanks.
You know what? You came in just under 3 minutes.
Yes.
And while you were talking, I found out that Ken Olandt, he just didn't want to be a part of this anymore. So he asked if I could strike his name from the podcast.
That sounds like him.
But Amy Steele also chimed in, and she said that you were her number one favorite.
Oh, Amy. Thank you. Wow.
That's Amy Steele from Friday the 13th Part 2.
Heck yeah, dude. Oh, I knew her right away.
There's a lot of actors that are really good in this movie. But the main question I want to know, buddy.
Yeah.
Did you see it coming? Did you see the end coming?
This was a weird one. I'm going to say no, but it did cross my mind. I went, maybe this is a prank, but once I started to see, once the heads popped up, I was like, oh, okay, maybe it's not. And then at some point, I was confusing this with another movie, I think. I don't know. But I was like, I feel like maybe it was from like In Search of Darkness or maybe something. Did Muffy have like a twin? And then when they talked about that clue of like, oh, her twin sister might be the killer or something, I was like, oh, maybe that's it. Maybe that's... So when it did have the ending, I actually didn't believe it at first. When we see everyone standing there, for a second, I was like, oh, maybe our main girl from Friday the 13th Part 2, Amy, maybe she's like in an asylum of some sort and this is all in her head. Like I was like, I still hadn't quite believed it until Muffy gives the spiel, and then I was like, oh, wonderful. I love this. Like, I love that it was a prank. I love that they all lived. I'm like, that's so cool. Like, what a fun, quote-unquote, horror movie where no one died. That was fun. Yeah. So I would say no, I was not 100%, which is wonderful. I love when that happens, and I loved that I was surprised.
That is wonderful. I love that.
Yeah.
So I have a really interesting experience with this movie every time I watch it, and it's so weird because here's the thing. I saw this back when it came out.
Mm-hmm.
I also read the novelization of this movie by, I think it's Jeff Roven is the author.
Sweet.
And as you know, or as you may know, when somebody writes the novelization of a movie,
mm-hmm.
they usually time it so that the novelization can come out around the same time as the movie, which means that they're going off of the original screenplay.
Oh, cool.
So there is stuff that I believe they shot for the movie that they have not been able to find. It was stuff in the original screenplay, but it is in the book. If anybody can get their hands on the novelization, there is much more not much more, but there's a good bit more to the ending after the April Fool's Day prank is revealed.
Oh.
And now, warning, I am about to spoil the end of the book.
Yes.
So if you haven't read the book and you don't want to know how the book ends, maybe jump ahead a little bit or something. But basically, it explains a couple of things that weren't really talked about a lot in the movie itself.
Okay.
Because first of all, in the original screenplay and in the book, Skip is not her cousin, he's her brother.
Oh, okay.
So he wants the inheritance instead of Muffy. So after everything is over and all the college kids are going back on the ferry, he talks them into turning around and going back to playing a trick on Muffy. And his entire idea is to kill Muffy with this new prank. Because the other thing that happens in the book is all the things that she left for the different people,
Oh, yeah.
like the baby crying for Nan and what have you. She originally left these just memory things, like memorable. That's the word I'm looking for, buddy. Memorable things that were harmless. And Skip, at some point, changed them out for things that would actually trigger the kids more.
Oh,
And that's what we see in the movie, but there's no indication that somebody else left them. Muffy takes responsibility for them near the end. Anyway, so that's how he's setting up that he could frame one of the kids for killing Muffy.
Interesting.
But when they all go back, it ends up, he's the one that ends up dying, and I think it ends with Muffy holding her dead brother's body.
Whoa. That is so interesting. Wow. Huh?
So the reason I bring all this up, buddy,
Yeah.
is because I saw this movie back when it came out more than once. I was kind of obsessed with it because I had read the book.
Nice.
And then I saw it again later, I'd say maybe 5 years ago.
Okay.
And then I watched it again this time. Every single time I rewatch this movie after time has gone by, I always expect more to happen in the movie after the reveal.
Right.
I always think that there's going to be this whole section of the movie where the killings turn real.
Oh, okay.
And when I watched it this time, I get to the scene with Nan in the bedroom with Muffy. I always want to say Buffy, but that's her twin, her fake twin.
Right.
Nan in the bedroom with Muffy with the fake knife across the throat, right?
Right.
And I'm like, oh, wait, that's the end? And then I'm like, oh, God, the whole other ending must have been in the book, you know? So it's just like this thing that always confuses me.
That's funny, though. It makes sense because you read it about the same time. It totally makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh, it's funny.
This movie, it's so good that even when I watch it a third time, fourth time, what have you, I feel like Buffy is a real twin, even though I know that it's a fake out, that Muffy does not have a twin. It's all part of the April Fool's trick that she's playing.
Right.
I always feel like she really does have a twin named Buffy. And I think that's a really big credit to not only the writing, but also Deborah Foreman's performance.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yep.
So,
she plays unhinged very well. Like
she does.
In a way that it's not like we just talked about this in a movie recently where a person was trying to be crazy and was just a bit too much. Whereas I feel like her performance, it worked. I was like, ooh, something's off. Like I'm a little bit nervous around with anyone around her, which is great. I mean, again, credit where credit is due. She did a great job. So I loved it.
And her friends just chalk it up to her having a hangover and, you know, it was just a crazy night. And then they get distracted by all this stuff going on, the quote unquote deaths happening.
Yep.
So yeah, that's my main thing is how the book ended. So I guess the other twist of this movie is that everybody calls it a slasher movie.
Right.
And even I called it a slasher movie at the end of our last episode.
Right.
But that was to throw you off, buddy.
I love it. I love it.
It's not really a slasher movie, as people who have seen this movie can also agree with. It's more of a murder mystery.
That's exactly right. Yeah, which was fun. I kind of enjoyed it. It was a nice little surprise. Like I liked it. Yeah.
And it's rewarding on the second viewing because you know what's coming.
Right.
You're not expecting like blood and a lot of like gross kills or anything. You're just watching the story unfold.
Yep. And I will say, man, one thing I just want to bring up is that it was really fun to not have anyone, like I love slashers. We love watching crazy kills. We talk about them all the time. But it was fun to have everyone live. And I will say at the end when we see, Muffy's about to get slashed on the throat, I was kind of bummed. I was like, oh, like we had this really great, like they got us. Don't make it real. And then when she pulls it away as it's fake again, I was like, yeah, it's still fake. Like it's still, everyone lived. Like it was just kind of a nice reward. I felt like, I don't know, like we did it. Like I was part of the team and we survived or something. But it was just a nice like treat of just, they were all there. I've only seen one other horror movie, which I won't say what because it would spoil it, where everyone lived and I loved it because it was fun.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. And I think people were actually pissed off back when this movie came out because everybody lived and everybody's like, oh, nobody really died? This is a terrible horror movie.
Good times.
One thing I want to ask you about, because this is one of my favorite aspects of this movie. What did you think of the characters?
I liked them. I mean, I feel like we kind of had the, sort of the stereotypical, teenagers, 80s fun. Like we had kind of Biff or whatever as like I'm the tough guy, I love women, blah, 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 blah.
Let's get this right. It's Arch.
Arch, I know, you're right. Sorry. It's hard not to call him Biff, buddy. Arch.
It is absolutely hard not to call Thomas F. Wilson Biff, but
I know.
His name is Arch in this movie.
The second I saw him, I was like, wait, no, is it? I was like, hey, cool. So Arch, is sort of that. So he's just sort of that stereotypical guy. And I feel like, there's kind of the popular girl. There's sort of the country boy. There's, it was fun. I liked it. I liked kind of the little variety we have, kind of playing into those stereotypes, I guess, of horror movies.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's something about the acting, and maybe it's just the acting, because I feel like the characters in this movie, this group of kids who are about to die,
right?
I feel like they're better than almost every group of kids in every movie, every horror slasher movie.
I would agree. Yeah, I definitely know what you're talking about.
Even the characters that I didn't love as much, like the ones you're not supposed to, like Harvey's kind of a yuppie, kind of like, I wouldn't say anybody's an actual D-bag in this movie.
Right.
I mean, there's some lines of dialogue that are a little D-baggish, but I also I don't feel anybody's like a horrible character. It's weird.
I agree.
Like Harvey's the only one that has any kind of, like, he's just kind of awkward.
Yeah.
And he comes on, and the only weird dialogue part for him, acting part, is the very moment he comes in. And he's like, hey, everybody, I'm Harv. And, it's a little bit much. But after that, his character kind of like calms down into the rest of the movie. Harvey, I guess, is what you'd say.
No, I get that. I totally agree. Yeah, he just seemed like a normal guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking back to Friday the 13th movies,
Yeah.
I was thinking back to even Nightmare on Elm Street,
Mm-hmm.
which has characters that are beloved in the horror community. I mean, Nancy and Tina and Rob and Johnny Depp.
Yeah. Yep.
That character, Johnny Depp.
That's right.
Nightmare on Elm Street. Yeah, I mean, I like them.
Yeah.
But there's something about these characters in this movie that they feel real to me.
Yeah. No, I would agree with you on that for sure. I would absolutely agree. There wasn't, because a lot of like some of those slasher 80 movies, there's some overacting as well. There's some like just over the top moments. But I would agree. I felt like they were all pretty grounded.
Yeah.
And even with the stuff that's going on, it was like the reaction was pretty normal. Like, yeah, that would, like, I like that they all were like, hey, we just saw something weird rather than everyone go, oh, sure you did. It was like, well, let's group up. Let's go find him. You know, it was just, I felt like it was nice and more realistic.
Even though they do get separated.
They do.
And see, that's the other thing. Like, you get into the movie and you get into the story.
Mm-hmm.
And I tried to pick apart this movie a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
This last viewing I did when I was taking notes, I was trying to pick it apart a tiny bit.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking, if this was actually happening, if Muffy was killing these people, taking them aside and killing them, is it realistic how they were found and stuff like that? And it's a little bit far-fetched, but okay, so the first person to die is Skip.
Yes.
Okay, and then, so here's the thing. Here's the thing that I thought about while watching this multiple times. How realistic is it that, for instance, when Rob and Kit go into the boathouse and they're about to make some sweet, sweet love, and then Skip just happens to float underneath them at that exact moment, right?
Right.
So how realistic was that to you?
I think it's pretty realistic because he's, as we find out at the end, he's part of it. He's part of the prank. So I think he was just waiting there, you know, waiting for the right time before he could swing under. So he's sitting there probably waiting, maybe even all day. But it seems realistic because he's part of the prank.
So that's what I came to as a conclusion as well.
Nice. Okay. Yeah.
So then we have the death of Arch, or, you know, the not so death, but the death.
Right. Quote unquote.
Which was actually maybe the scariest part because of the snake.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. That was a real snake. That was not pretend.
Yeah, it was a real snake. The person hanging was not really Thomas F. Wilson.
Oh, funny. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, it was a stunt person. Evidently, this guy got really good at avoiding the snake when the snake would strike at him.
That's amazing. Oh, man.
So the thing is, okay, so then we have Harvey or Hal and Nikki when they go to the well.
Yes. Yep.
This is the only part that is still slightly unrealistic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they go to the well because I think Muffy even sends them to the well.
Yes, that sounds right. I don't remember exactly,
they need
but
water.
Yeah.
So Muffy sends them to the well. That's fine. And then when Harvey starts bringing the bucket down, it falls off.
Right.
So Muffy could have rigged the bucket to fall off so that they have to go down into the well.
Right. Yep.
But now the interesting thing is that when Nikki falls into the water, that's when the two heads come up, or actually it's just one head. It's Arch's head.
Right.
And then the bodies of Skip and Nan.
Right.
So how do you get bodies to float to the top of the water at the exact right moment?
That one's tough. My only thought would be, like, maybe the special effects guy, because he was like, I mean, he knows water at the beginning. Maybe he has, you know, because I mean, he's in the water at the beginning. Maybe he's got some scuba gear on under there. I don't know how deep that well is, though. That's the thing. But could have let them up once they were there.
That's not a bad idea. He's like waiting under the water with those bodies. Who knows?
Yeah.
Still, that one's a little far-fetched. But
yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
But I still give it to him.
Me too. I'm fine with it because that's a really great scene. So I'm like, I just enjoy it. So yeah, that works for me.
And then when they're in the house and they're waiting for the constable to come to the island to get them, you know, they start by, we need to stick together.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
And then Muffy goes upstairs, and she's the one that kind of instigates all of them kind of splitting up, you know?
Right. Yep. That's true.
And the only one that's by himself is Harvey, which even Muffy says at the end that was almost really bad because he actually brought a gun.
Right. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
But that's when, let's see, Chaz and Nikki. By the way, I think I was in love with Nikki when I was a kid. Because she was beautiful and I loved her voice.
Yeah. Yep. I totally know what you're talking about. Oh, yeah.
She actually has a little segment It's really cool. On the Blu-ray that I have,
Oh, cool.
there's a few interviews, and there's an interview with Deborah Goodrich, who plays Nikki.
That's cool. That's really cool.
There's also an interview with Clayton Rohner, who played Chaz, who, in my opinion, was the best actor of all of them.
Man, yeah, I got to think about it. Because they were like, I mean, we already talked about it. They were all good.
But there's something about Chaz. I really liked him. And when I watch him specifically during the scenes, he's just like, he's the kind of guy I'm like, why wasn't Clayton Rohner like a household name at some point, you know?
That's a really good way to look at that. You're right. That's a really good way to look at that.
I don't know. He was great. I mean, obviously, Thomas F. Wilson is great. And that's why he went on to play Biff in Back to the Future.
I still have to think about it, who like my favorite was. I didn't think about it.
Yeah. But the clues were laid out so well. And it's very, very plausible. You know, they laid out the clue of the insane asylum in the boat.
Yes. Yep.
So, of course, somebody's going to make it to the boat, right?
Yep.
And then, again, even Muffy admitted that she was so happy that Rob and Kit found her clues, like the dolls in the basement. And, or the attic, I'm sorry. The dolls in the attic, and then the height chart of Muffy and Buffy.
Yep.
So.
Yep. But I like it, too, because, again, this is what the movie is to trick us as well. So it was great having, obviously, I mean, they need to find it, but it was fun for us to be part of the... It felt like we were a character, a little bit, to me anyway, in this group. We were the 11th character, however many there are. You know what I mean? Like, we're part of it.
Yeah,
so it was fun to have that, have them find the clues and be like, oh, okay, I'm with you. You know? It was just fun.
And again, the whole time I was watching this time, I was thinking of you, and I was like, I wonder what Andrew's train of thought is. And I was thinking, if he's into this and he's kind of engrossed in it, there's so many nice moments of misdirection.
Yeah.
You know, like what is the trick? Is the trick that, you know, they're now there and she's playing a bunch of April Fool's jokes on them, but they're all actually dying?
Right. Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Now, why did the movie almost lose you for a little while? I want to hear about this.
Yeah, I think for some reason it just felt, and I think maybe part of it too was maybe you didn't see any deaths, really, you know?
Yeah.
But also, it didn't feel like a lot was happening to me. Like, I just felt like there was a lot of setup, which now makes sense watching through to the end. It's like, oh, okay, of course there was. But maybe it was just, I was like, okay, like, let's get on with it kind of a thing. Like, I want to see something happen now. These characters, I get it. I've seen kind of these types of characters before. I love 80s slashers, but I almost felt like I've kind of seen this. You know, what's different? What's a little different about it? So I kind of had that mentality, which I guess I shouldn't have. But it also kind of worked in my favor because at the end it just felt like such a good reveal that I was like, oh, of course things weren't happening. Of course they were setting things up. Of course they were doing this to pay off the end. And so for me, I was like, after watching it, I was like, I'm good. I'm okay that I was kind of like, all right, this is fine, because it made the payoff so much better. Definitely.
And that's why I was really hoping that you wouldn't see that coming or that you hadn't heard about it. Now, the variable here is that even though you didn't remember the segment on this movie in Search of Darkness, you had seen In Search of Darkness and something seemed familiar to you, and you did kind of remember. But you didn't remember, I don't even know if they mentioned the whole reveal at the end, but I think they did, and I'm glad you didn't remember that.
Yeah, no, and like I said, really the thing that I don't even know if it was that movie, because I know there's other movies that have used kind of the twin aspect, so it might have totally been a different movie I was thinking of. I just, like, right before they even announced or revealed that she had a twin, or I don't know, at some point, I was like, is this the movie with the twin? Like the twin is the killer or something? Again, maybe it kind of worked to my advantage just because I was like, oh, that must be the twist, or that must be like the reveal, is that the twin is the, you know. So it kind of, I feel like everything I had seen sort of worked in my favor, just because I wasn't really thinking of the twist because it was already like, oh, that must be it. Now I'm done thinking about it, you know. and it wasn't. So that was great.
Again, I'm just so glad that you didn't see it coming and that it was a nice surprise for you at the end, because that is why this is one of my favorite horror movies of the 80s.
And I get it. After seeing this, I'm like, I totally understand why you liked it or like it. I'm like, it is. It's a nice little kind of rope-a-dope. They got me, you know. It was just a fun, we're going to watch a slasher, but not really. We tricked you. It's just like I said, it felt like I was a character in the movie, and having the reveal was nice for me too, to be like, oh, they got me too. I like it.
I love as well all of the pranks that Muffy plays on everybody.
Yeah.
Especially that first night.
Yes.
It's so great. One of my favorite moments. And so there's I think there's 3 moments in this movie when I would think about this movie. You know, you think about a movie and there's scenes that immediately come into your head.
Right.
And I think one of my favorite, well, there's 3. Okay. So number 1 is when they're all at the dinner table and Arch falls backwards in the chair.
Yes. Yeah.
And there is a look that Muffy gives, and she's just she sticks her tongue out the side of her mouth for a second, like she's a little bit turned on or something.
Yeah.
And I always remember that. I always remember Buck and his face after he comes out of the water.
Yep.
When he supposedly gets crushed between the boat and the planks and everything. And then, of course, the moment that Kit walks into the room and everybody's just sitting there, you know?
Yep.
So.
You know what I thought too? That scene, that right when she walks in, and maybe it was just me, I don't know, but it almost gave like a dream sequence fog when she opens the door. And I don't know if that was even on the screen. That might have just been in my head, but for whatever reason, that's how I saw it. It was almost like a dream. You know, like when you see a dream in a movie in the 80s, it's like foggy or whatever, you know, and you're like, I don't know, it had sort of that something like grainy, I don't know. And again, it may have just been in my head, but that's how it looked to me. So at first I was like, is this what? Huh? Is this a dream? What's happening? I don't know.
I definitely think that was in your head.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Because she comes out. No, I mean, they're just all standing there. And it is I love that was in your head, because it's a compliment to how the movie makes you feel. Like you're like, whoa. And
right.
Yeah. Oh, everybody. And you're trying to figure it out. There's a fog in your head because you're trying to figure out what you just watched and what's now happening, you know?
Yep.
Like, oh, wait, how's everybody still alive? You know?
Right.
And then the kind of hilarious part where Rob is still banging at the door and screaming, "Kit, I love you." And then, of course, Buck comes out with the latex thing on his face.
Yep.
But yeah, I used to love April Fool's jokes, and those were the kind of pranks that I loved. So
yep.
I love the fact that, you know, like when Rob and Kit are trying to go to bed and Rob turns off one light and another light comes on.
Yeah.
It's just so great because he keeps doing it. And then, you know, they're kind of having a tense moment before this, it seems
They
like.
are. Yep. Because she had revealed that he didn't get into college or whatever it was. Or something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But then the way she just kind of laughs at at all the pranks going on.
Yep.
Yeah, I love that. I love the whole house thing.
I did too. And I did love that Arch also, she put the chair in his bedroom as well. So he fell backward again in there. I was like, it just made me laugh. I was like, oh, that's perfect for him. Like it was a fun moment. I'm like, that makes sense.
Exactly. And another thing I love about Arch is the comment that Muffy makes about Arch has 2 modes, collar up and collar down.
Yeah.
And it's serious. Like he does flip his collar up every time he's about to like hit on a girl or something. And then I love that when he goes into the room, he flips his collar up just to look at a porno mag.
Yeah. Yes.
I thought that was great.
I also love too that he gets rejected. I loved him getting rejected and just the defeat on his face. I was like, yeah, that's what you get.
Yes.
It was kind of perfect because he was so confident. Like, I got this. And just, no, you don't. You don't, buddy. It was so nice.
Of course, it does lead to something I thought was funny back in the 80s, but now it's just like, I'm like, okay, come on. But when he is going, he's looking in the different rooms, and he goes in, and Chaz and Nikki are having the sex.
Yeah. Yep.
But the position they're in is so ridiculous, and it doesn't look fun at all.
It looks
I'm like,
awful.
okay, I get doing something ridiculous for the movie, but this is just kind of way over the top. Like, nobody does that in that position and looks that awkward doing it. Like, if you're going to get in a position like that, all pretzeled up,
Right.
There's like there's enjoyment to it, and they don't look like they're having any enjoyment whatsoever. It just looks like it's purely done for the movie, for the audience to laugh
For
at.
sure. Yep. Yeah, for sure. It's a weird moment where I was like, okay, okay. I'm not sure what's happening here.
The other scene that I wanted to mention is the scene with the three girls in the kitchen. They're reading the sex survey thing.
Yep.
Now, that was not in the original screenplay, which is really cool.
Oh, really?
Fred Walton saw the girls off camera. They were doing that. They were reading from this article.
Oh, cute.
And he loved the camaraderie they were all having, so he put it in the movie. He put a scene in the movie with them doing that.
I love that, because I did love that scene, and I thought it was very, like, it was charming. Like, it was just like, oh, I love them having this discussion. So that's really sweet.
Yeah.
I love that. I really love that. That's so cool.
Now, finally, we do come to the music. Now, did you listen to the music at all? What do you think of this one?
Oh man, I feel like I heard it, but it I don't know. I feel like it maybe reminded me of 80s kind of. Oh no, that's not true. I do remember this. It almost had like a carnival feel to it. Like maybe not carnival, maybe that's not the right word. Like funhouse, or like
No, that's okay.
Yeah, I can't think of a better word, but sort of like that feel, if that makes sense.
Well, I think I mentioned this last episode, but one of the reasons I did want to pick this movie is because I recently got the deluxe soundtrack.
Nice.
Off of, I forget what website, Varese Saraband, or I think that was the website. Anyway, but I just recently got the soundtrack and listened to it. And the score was composed by Charles Bernstein, who you will know from the movies Cujo and A Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he composed that iconic Nightmare on Elm Street score.
Whoa. Okay, that's pretty awesome.
I definitely think those two scores that I just mentioned are a little bit better than this one, but the more I listen to this one, the more I enjoy it, because the main theme has like the Jack in the Box feel to it.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yes.
But then he also puts in these noises, these doo-doo-doo, doo-doo-doo noises throughout the score, and that is supposed to imitate the sound of loons in that area, like the loon birds.
Totally.
So
that's cool.
I really, really like, especially the main theme to this movie. So
I got to listen to it again. I need to, because I want it to be something I remember, especially if he did Nightmare on Elm Street. That's awesome. That's really
just
cool.
rewatch the opening to the movie with the opening theme. Yeah.
Okay.
You don't have to watch the whole movie or anything. But, I mean, that said, are we ready for 3 questions?
Yeah, let's do it.
Who would cross the bridge of death must answer me these questions 3.
All right, buddy. This one's gonna be an odd one. I'm trying to remember. I feel like we've done something like this before, where we were like, "How do we answer this?" But
I think that was Garfield the movie.
I think you're right. Hey, it's a great movie. All right, question 1. What was the best death/kill in this, man?
So nobody dies in this movie.
Right.
So then the next obvious choice would be to go for the fake deaths.
Mm-hmm.
And this is a really tough one, because the one that I would pick, even in the fiction of the prank that Muffy is playing, he doesn't die. He just goes to the hospital, because I love Buck's makeup with his eye poking out and everything.
Yeah.
So if I don't include that one, I think I would just have to go with Arch because I love the snake that's part of that scene. I think that's legitimately creepy and scary, and you wonder about that when you think about the whole prank. You're like, oh man, what about the snake? And even Muffy mentions, I didn't plan for the snake.
Right.
You know, so even within the prank, Arch almost got bit by a snake, you know?
Right.
And then I like the fact that he was decapitated and his head ends up in the well with the other dead bodies. So yeah, I'm going to go with Arch.
I think that's a good one. I think that's a great one.
Okay.
Yeah. I would say for me, though, I would actually put Muffy at the very end because I was so worried that it was real. And then when it wasn't, it was like such a good relief of like, it's all still a prank. Like it just felt like, so for whatever reason, that one got me just because I was so nervous. Like, oh no, we'd gotten this far, but then we still had. Like it was still all pretend. So I'm going to go with hers just for the feeling I had.
That's good. I like that one.
Nice. All right, question number 2. Is this movie scary?
I don't think this movie's scary. I think getting caught up in the mystery of it, you might feel suspense and all that, but no, definitely not scary at all. And I don't think it ever was to me. So what about you?
Same. I would, yeah. The mystery is more fun than anything, but not scary. No.
Yeah.
Nope. Question number 3, buddy. Did you have fun with horror?
I had so much fun with horror, Andrew. I picked this movie because it was so much fun to watch, and I'm even more thankful that it was a surprise to you at the end of the movie. So, yeah, I had a lot of fun with horror. Andrew, did you have fun with horror?
I really did. Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was nervous at first, you know, not liking it, but boy, that ending, yeah, it really made it fun. It was a fun movie. So thank you for that.
You're welcome. Happy April Fool's Day, Andrew.
Happy April Fool's Day, Scotty.
So with this toast, may our hearts run over and our friendships be formed.
Right.
Oh, cheers.
Cheers. One down.
Okay.
Oh my God. April Fool.
Okay, so April Fool's Day has been watched and discussed, and that means, Andrew, it's time for our next movie, which you get to pick. So, what are we watching next, my friend?
We are watching the new movie, The Rule of Jenny Penn, which can be found. Yeah, I know. Found on Shudder. You can buy it, rent it, all that fun stuff. But I'd heard about this one recently, and that it's just fantastic acting, and I want to tell my John Lithgow story next week, or next episode. So I definitely picked that for this too.
But he's not in the movie, right?
That's true. Yeah, he's not. I just really want to tell you the story.
Okay, cool. No, but he is in the movie, I guess.
Yes, he is. So it's good.
I don't know anything about this movie. I know the name, but that's about it. I don't know anything else about this movie, so I'm excited.
I know. Yeah, I'm with you. I only know the 2 main actors and maybe one tiny thing, but nothing. That's it. I mean, really, I don't know much either, but I've heard that it's a good watch, so I'm excited for it.
All right. Well, The Rule of Jenny Penn.
Yeah.
Very good. Very good. Okay, so that's going to be our next episode, everybody. Our loves, our friends, our followers and listeners, thank you so much for listening to Fun with Horror.
Yes, thank you. We love you. We appreciate you. We love doing this for you and with you.
You have no idea how hard this episode was for us to record and get through because of all of our technical difficulties we had, but we hope that it sounds seamless and that you didn't notice anything at all, like zero, zilch.
Yeah. Let's just say you and I are looking at each other
in a different way.
Yeah, in a different way than how we started.
Yeah, so since we're at the end of the episode, I think it's okay. We were having some very big internet problems. Our Zoom kept freezing and what have you. We have diagnosed it. Unfortunately, it seems to be Andrew's internet is being weird and stupid.
Yes.
We were going to postpone and record the second half of this episode next weekend, but then we decided, hey, let's try and just FaceTime each other and still record using our Audacity recording, whatever. So it's still going to sound good, but we've been looking at each other on Audacity. I can't even speak. On FaceTime. And even FaceTime is freezing, but we can at least hear each other fine.
Yeah. Yep.
Crazy. What a crazy day.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like we're being April Fooled.
Yes. Right? It's the perfect episode for all this to happen.
It really is. Maybe my internet knew they were like listening and they're like, hey, this is the one, guys. This is the one.
Well, if this is our last episode ever and nobody ever gets to hear what we think of Jenny Penn, now people know why.
That's right.
Because it's Andrew's internet. Dude, this is why it is actually like, it's not that easy doing remote recording like this, No, a lot of people, when they record a podcast, they're in the same room with each other,
Yep.
But the whole point of ours is for us to keep in touch, but there you have it.
When it works.
When it works. All right, Andrew.
I'm listening. Yeah, I'm here.
Are you still here, Andrew?
No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I can hear you.
Andrew, you.
And you.
And everybody out there, you.
We definitely, you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Here.
God, not the water.
It's all right. It's Perrier.